Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for standing by and welcome to the Employment Branding webinar. During the presentation, all participants will be in a listen-only mode. If you'd like to ask a question during the presentation, please use the chat feature located in the lower left corner of your screen. If you need to reach an operator at any time, please press *0. As a reminder, this conference is being recorded Wednesday, June 12, 2013. I would now like to turn the conference over to Ms. Erin Jacobson. Please go ahead.
Hello, and thank you all for joining today's webinar, Employment Branding. As a reminder, this webinar is being recorded, and by the end of the day tomorrow, you will receive an email from us, which will include today's webinar slides, recording, and information containing HRCI credits. This information will also be available at ere.net. We've had an overwhelming response on this topic, but before we get to it, I'd like to say a quick thank you to JobVite for sponsoring today's webinar. I'd like to introduce Matt from JobVite, who would like to take a few minutes of your time before we kick off the webinar.
Thank you, Erin. We're excited to be sponsoring today's webinar, and employment branding is a topic that's near and dear to our hearts here at JobVite. We provide a recruiting platform that consists of three basic components that I've highlighted here in the slide. The first is a social sourcing tool. So JobVite Refer empowers all of the employees within your company to leverage their social networks to drive more candidates into the application process. And then back in February, we launched a candidate relationship management tool, so something like a Salesforce for recruiters. And that's the JobVite Engage product. It basically provides a place to recruit passive candidates, house all of your candidates in a single location, and then run campaigns to all those folks so that when they're ready to make a move, that your company is top of mind and that you've built that employment brand with them through email campaigns, online sources such as Twitter and Facebook to broadcast out jobs and basically, again, drive more candidates into the application process. And then JobVite Hire is a traditional ATS that has lots of great features. That's the tool that you use to actually source and take candidates through the hiring process. We've got well over 1,000 customers in a number of unique verticals, and I know a number of those customers are on the call today. So I just wanted to thank those customers who are attending, along with all of the other attendees. And again, thank you to ERE for giving us the opportunity to sponsor the webinar, and thank you to Jennifer for putting together all this great content. Really looking forward to hearing the presentation. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt. We are very lucky to have Jennifer Millman speaking today. Jennifer is a strategic advisor who inspires businesses to drive performance and growth through talent management and performance management. Jennifer has 15 years experience in strategic HR and global enterprises as well as entrepreneurial firms across a variety of industries and cultures. Welcome, Jennifer. I'll turn this over to you now.
Thanks, Erin. And hello to everybody on the call. Thank you so much for joining today. I can see you all popping in, and it's an overwhelming response. So thank you for being here. You're actually all my very first webinar audience. All of my presentations are typically live and in person. So this is my first webinar audience that I can't see, but I can see your little green dots. So thank you so much for coming. My name, as Erin mentioned, is Jennifer Millman, and I am talking to you all today from sunny Tampa, Florida. And as Erin mentioned, I've been in HR for about 15 years. I've worked across a lot of different Fortune 500 organizations in a variety of industries, mostly financial services, and for the past 7 years, technology. And right now, I am leading the talent acquisition function for Vology, which is a Inc. 500 and Fast 50 tech firm. And I'm loving this position. It's actually the smallest company I've ever worked for. It's an entrepreneurial firm. We've been around for about 10 years. And the challenge here at Vology, and maybe some of you can relate to this, is that we're a smaller firm. We're about $130 million. We've got about 230 employees. The name is not well known as an employment brand, and it's my challenge to create an employment brand for the company and also hire about 100 people over the next 3 years. So hopefully some of the things that we've done here and that I've done in my past will help you in your specific situations as we go through it. So what is employment branding? I mean, we all hear this topic and this hot term and, employment branding this and employer brand that. And what does it really mean? We all have an employment brand. You have one in your company today. It's not something that you can really make or control directly, right? It exists. It's made up of you and all the people that are in your organization, your leadership, your philosophies, your mission, your vision, your values, what external people see you as, what your internal people see you as. So it's really, your brand is your reputation as seen by your employees and those prospective employees. And branding is the efforts that you are working on to kind of create the messaging that will affect the perspective of your employees and potential employees. And the reason that we're talking about employment branding is that a great employment brand is going to make your lives a lot easier as recruiters and hiring managers, because it will find and filter people for you. And it filters them through your brand, which hopefully is clear and really represents your culture. So it's kind of bringing people to you that have already been filtered through your culture, and they're going to be great fits for you. And we're going to focus a lot on social media today, because social media really makes branding easier, and it's really inexpensive, and it's really fast. So we're going to spend some time on social media. So why do we care about social media? We care about it because it builds and strengthens our brand. I don't know, I'm assuming we have a lot of recruiters or people who work in recruiting functions on the line today. And if you're like me, you're kind of noticing that the quality of candidates that are in the typical Career Builder and Monster resume databases just aren't as great as they used to be. And it's because passive candidates and the really great candidates don't really post their resumes to boards anymore. They don't have to. Social media and networking has become the way to find jobs. So why spend $15,000 to $30,000 a year on these resume databases when they're outdated resumes and they're subpar? So why do we care about social media? Because it's a lot cheaper and we don't have to spend all that money. It's a best practice. Adobe, one of the world's largest graphic design software firm, doesn't even use job boards anymore. They fill the majority of their jobs through LinkedIn, and the rest they use social media and referrals. Amazon.com doesn't use boards anymore. They post only entry-level jobs to places like Career Builder, and the rest they're using LinkedIn and referrals and social media. So it is clearly a best practice. We all spend tons of time on social media. It's where everyone is. We can recruit this way from anywhere. It's very efficient. And bottom line, your candidates want to find you there, right? So when you are talking to a potential candidate, and if you're like me at Vology, they probably haven't heard of Vology, they're going to go and they're immediately going to go Google Vology, and they're going to look on LinkedIn, and they're going to find our Facebook page, and they're going to look on Twitter, and they're going to, they want to find us there. So we need to be there, and we need to show them who we are there. And this is just a great quote. If you want to be found, stand where the seeker seeks. And again, as we all know, people spend their time on social media, so that's really where we need to be. So we're going to focus today on the big six, okay? And there are hundreds, thousands, probably hundreds of thousands of different social media sites, but these are the ones that we're going to focus on today because they're the ones that everyone knows, and you'll get your biggest bang for your buck here. And I know that you guys all are aware of these social media sites, so what we're really going to focus on is how to use them to your advantage in your particular situation with your company and your culture, what's going to work out best for you. So we're going to break this up into two parts. First, we're going to talk about social media and your company, your whole organization, and then after that, we're going to talk about social media and you as an individual. So first off, company. Social media is a great way to build and strengthen your employment brand. And what's really awesome about this trend is that for the first time, possibly ever, HR is in a position to drive external business, right? So the function that historically is known for this, to be a back office function and really just be the people persons for the employees, very internal function. Now we are on Facebook and we're posting really cool things about our company and why it's so cool to work here. And customers are seeing that, vendors are seeing it, business partners are seeing it. So we're in a position now to affect the whole company and the business that's coming into the company, which is really cool. It's going to be important for you to join forces with your marketing department. So if you are a company that has a marketing department, you're going to want to, if you haven't already, make a meeting with the person who manages your social media in the marketing department, if there is someone there, and talk to them. Talk to them about your shared goals and how you guys can work together, because strengthening your employment brand is going to naturally strengthen your overall company's brand, and your executives are going to be really happy about that. So Facebook, we all know about Facebook. It's the largest social media network in the world. There's 1 billion users. If your company does not have a Facebook page, obviously you want to start one right away. If you're just getting started out with your company Facebook page or your careers Facebook page, I think a good idea is to, if you're a smaller company, speaking in general terms, you'll probably get your biggest bang for your buck joining forces with your whole company Facebook page versus trying to start your own careers page. If you don't yet have a careers Facebook page, you might want to just do some test runs on your overall corporate Facebook page, like maybe posting a picture of your recent sports fest, or hey everybody, a recruiting job fair is coming up next week. Hope to see you there. Something employment related. And when we talk about the Facebook analytics in a moment, you can test out the reach and how it's working, and then decide if it's going to make sense to have your own careers Facebook page or continue a joint effort with the whole company. How do you use Facebook to brand? You are going to, sorry, I'm like on the wrong page here. I'm looking at something that you guys aren't. Okay. Oh, okay, I'm right. Okay. So what you're going to want to do is have people click like, and that's how people are following you, and that's how they're seeing what you're doing. The easiest way to increase your reach through likes is to have all your employees like your page. And then once your employees like your page, your stuff is coming up on their feeds. And as interesting stuff is coming up in their feed and they're commenting on it and sharing it, their social networks are going to see it and be able to share it and comment on it, and et cetera, and that's how things go viral. So with Facebook, the bang for the buck here is that it's the virility, right? So you want to post people interest stories, so people are sharing, they're commenting, they're liking, and those stories are being shared exponentially, and that's how you reach a further audience and ultimately build your employment brand. It's a fact that nearly 80% of people are more likely to purchase from you once they become your fan. So again, we have the ability to affect our business as a whole, not just from the employment standpoint, but business coming in. And nearly 75% of the people who like you are going to refer you to their friends. That's huge. And then people are 4 times more likely to buy from you when they receive a referral from a friend. So it's pretty much marketing 101, but we can use it to our advantage as recruiters because this is what ultimately strengthens our employment brand. And if you combine your Facebook efforts with an awesome employee referral bonus plan, that can really exponentially increase your brand as well, because people will want to share jobs because they're getting a bonus, and the more shares you get, the more reach you get, and ultimately the more your brand gets out there. So ways to use Facebook that are great for your brand. Facebook is people interest, right? We all have our own Facebook pages. We love to see our friends and what they're up to, and pictures and videos are really what makes up the content. So I highly suggest using pictures and videos for your Facebook pages. And you can see Marriott here uses this very well, and they've got a new hire. Her name is Evelyn from Panama. She belongs. And you can see that 1,000 people have seen this, and 19 people have shared this, and lots of people have commented on it, so it's great. Vology is highlighting here these two internal internal employees who were promoted. So yay! And what do you think these employees are going to do? They're going to share it on their own Facebook pages, and all their friends are going to congratulate them. And 1,000 people are going to see this post. And for a company that only has 200 employees, that's pretty good. Zappos does an awesome job of branding. So, I don't know if there's anyone from Zappos on the phone. You guys are doing awesome. And for those of you who don't work at Zappos, go check out their site. Check out their careers page on their Facebook page, because what I love about what they're doing is they have these video testimonials. And this is free. This doesn't cost much. You can do this with your iPhone. Talk to some employees that you know who are happy. Record a minute video, slap it up on your Facebook page, and it's great content, and it's great for potential candidates to see. It's a great use of Facebook. If you have a culture that does a lot of after-work activities, showcase it on Facebook. If you're a hardcore, energetic, fun atmosphere, show some pictures of what you guys are doing, and you'll be very likely to attract more of those types of folks to come work for you, and your brand will strengthen in the areas that you want it to strengthen. What's great about Facebook is that it works really well. Your branding efforts are going to work really well if you're a small company. It's almost easier for a small to medium-sized business to get a quick impact from Facebook branding efforts than it is for a really large business. So definitely try it out. And the way that you can test it is through the Facebook Analytics. So this is all free. It all comes with your Facebook account, which is 100% free. And if you guys have control of your Facebook page, you will have this is what your admin panel looks like. If you do not have control of your Facebook page, partner up with the person in your company who does, and ask them to show you this. Okay, so on your main page this is what it looks like. So you're going to click on Insights right here, and it will take you to this page. And this page is going to have a lot of information, and I'm going to not spend too much time here because you can spend time on your own playing around with this, but I'll just cover the basics. So this is an overview. The pink dots are your posts. So each post represents a pink dot, and the green line is how many people are talking about it, which means they either shared it, they commented on it, or they liked it. And the blue dots are your total reach. And then you can hover over the dot at any time. And when I hover over this dot, I can see exactly how many people this post reached within exactly that time frame. And then what you can do as you're posting is you can track what posts get more reach, what posts get more people talking about it, and constantly be tweaking what you are posting and what you're not posting. So this is just further in the insights. You can look at your reach, your engaged users, who's talking about it, and virility. So here I'm looking at the post that got the most reach, the post with the most. And when you click on that number, this pop-up box is going to come up. So then you can see the difference of organic, which is the number of people who saw it on their news feed, versus viral, which is the number of people who saw it because one of their friends commented on it. And this is what you want. You want a big viral reach. That's when you know you're doing awesome. I have a question here that came up, and I'm going to answer it. So someone asked, you recommend sharing internal info on promotions on your Facebook page for your consumers to see? I'm curious because our consumer demographic is different than our candidate demographic. Yes, I would say absolutely yes, because you would be surprised how much impact your consumers can have on your employment brand. And I'll give you an example. So here at Vology, we're doing this on Facebook. We only have one Facebook page. We don't have it separated from employment and our regular business Facebook page. So it's all on one. And our vendors and business partners are, our fans, and they see what we post. And for our last sales training class, we actually got a few referrals from our Hewlett-Packard business partner, who is someone who would never want to work here. I mean, it's a complete vendor relationship. It's a third-party relationship. She has been watching what we've been doing on our Facebook. She thinks it's so cool. She knows someone up in New Jersey that's looking, was looking to move to Tampa. He's in sales. He's got a 15-year, career in sales. He's awesome. He wasn't even looking, but he was looking to relocate. She told him about Vology. We've since hired him. He started in April. This is a guy that we probably never would have found us, never would have sought us out, and never would have applied, and he's a rock star. So that is just one example of how your consumers can absolutely spread your brand message. Okay, another question is there a best practice as far as the number of posts per day or week for an employment brand? Yeah, we're going to talk about this towards the end, but I'll answer it really quickly right now. It's important to stay active. I would say, try to do 2 or 3 things per week, whether it's on your Facebook page or your LinkedIn page or your Twitter. Try to have a couple of things going up per week. There is such thing as overkill, especially when, like, if all you're doing is promoting, a certain job. People are going to get bored with that. So on Facebook, keep it people interest related and a lot of, what's going on that's fun, and then pepper in the job opportunities. Pepper in your business promotions, but make it mostly about career interest or people interest. And on LinkedIn, it might be more industry articles and news and what we're doing and controversial topics and things that are more of a professional industry bent. And again, you'll pepper in the job postings. But you'll want to post on your sites, I would say at least 2 or 3 times a week. And then Leroy, I see your question. I'm going to get to that in a minute. So just here's some definitions when you're reading your Facebook analytics. Engaged users are each unique person that has clicked on your post. People talking about it are liking, sharing, creating stories, commenting. And virility is the important thing. This is the percentage of people who have created a story about your post based on the total number of engaged users. So the higher that virility percentage is, which is right here, the better. Okay, and just one more comment on the analytics. So when you look at your reach, or I'm sorry, the number of engaged users right here, you're going to be able to see this pop out and see where the clicks are coming from, if it's from photos or whatever it is. The important piece here is your negative feedback. So on this post here about our I don't remember what that post was about, but on this post we lost 2 people. So when people give negative feedback, that means that they are either hiding your post or they're hiding you. And that's not good. It's going to happen, especially if you're a huge company. I mean, you're probably going to get like 15 a day if you've got 300,000 followers. So, but it's important to know that the number one reason that people will hide your post is that you have too frequent posts. So, to the ladies' question earlier, how often, if you're posting 3 times a day, it's too much. It's overkill. So make sure that it's just the right amount, and you'll be able to track through your analytics what is working and what's not and make constant tweaks. The second reason is that posts are off topic, so they're just not relevant. And then more on analytics. And then it also goes into your likes and what the demographics are, where the people are liking from, the country, the city, what language they speak, if they're male or female, how old they are. So I mean, the analytics piece of Facebook is really awesome, and I encourage everyone to play around with it. Next up is LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, as we all know, is the world's largest pool of professional talent. It has 200 million users. With LinkedIn, from your company's branding perspective, you're going to want to make sure that you have people following you, and that is how they will see what you're up to, and that will extend your reach. So make it easy for people to follow you. Add your little LinkedIn button and your Facebook button, if you do that, to your careers page on your website, your company career page, etc. Another little note on LinkedIn. If you are posting jobs on LinkedIn, paying to post, The average number of views per job is about 470, which is a lot. And the really cool thing about that is that nearly a third of those views are coming from passive candidates. So you are tapping into a great audience. The passive candidates, it's just typically on average a much higher quality candidate than someone who's actively looking. So what a great way to get candidates. And then just another best practice here, Pfizer hires 40% of its candidates from LinkedIn. Accenture plans to hire 40% of their 50,000 hires in 2013 from LinkedIn and Twitter, and referrals make up the rest. Google Plus is a social network that is their fourth attempt at a social network, but I think this one's going to stick. And I was trying to get words to explain exactly what Google Plus is, and it's funny because even Google themselves can't describe what Google Plus is. But basically they call it a social layer. That combines all the different social media that you already use into one place. And Google Plus is great for if you're hiring like heavy-duty systems engineers, technical engineers, creatives, writers, coders, designers, and any other techies, software developers, etc. They make up the largest demographic of people here. And what's really cool about Google Plus is that it's open source. So much like a WordPress blog, people can code it the way they want it to be coded, so each individual Google Plus profile can look vastly different, almost like their own website. And it's all free, which is really cool. YouTube. YouTube has as many users as Facebook, 1 billion. YouTube is owned by Google, so Google absolutely loves YouTube content. So if you want to make a video, which I highly recommend that you do, it's great for SEO. You're going to be found because Google, again, loves video content, so you'll be on that first page. And it's a great way to show rather than tell your audience who you are. And the very best example, in my opinion, of employment branding using YouTube is Twitter. So when we're done with this call, I want everybody to go to YouTube and flood this with searching for @Twitter, the future is you. Check out this video. It is hilarious. It's awesome. It's totally on a budget, home video. But after watching this video that's maybe 3 minutes long, you know exactly what it's like to work at Twitter. And if that is your thing and that's your personality, you're going to want to work there. And so what a great way to show people who you are, and then you can add it to your website as content on your careers page, or you can just keep it on your YouTube channel. And speaking of YouTube channels, so when you go to YouTube, it's a search engine just like Google, and you would type at the top who you're looking for. Your candidates are going to do this. So I'm using KPMG here now because KPMG is vastly different than Twitter, and KPMG is one of the top 4 consulting firms and more conservative, right? They can still use social media, and they do it to great effect. So when you are searching for KPMG on YouTube, you'll come up with videos and you'll come up with a channel. If you don't have a YouTube channel at your company, create one. It's free. And this is where you load up all your videos. So here's KPMG's channel. And they have all these different My Life at KPMG videos, which are awesome, and I also highly recommend that you guys go check out because it is a great way of how they display to any potential candidate who mostly are recent college graduates from like Ivy League schools, so they're hiring the best of the best. And the best of the best are typically going to go work for the best. And what a great way to show who you are to the top candidates who are evaluating probably 3 other top 4 consulting firms. And they do a great job. So it's like, one of them has a girl walking the streets of Paris, and she's working in Paris, and this is her internship, and this is what she does every day. And this guy is like a business analyst, and he's talking about what he does. So what a great way to show folks who you are and what your brand is through YouTube. Twitter. Twitter is a way to just kind of give small bursts of information. They're called tweets. Twitter was the fastest growing social network, but it has since been declining. So they started with about 500, well, they still have 500 million users, but only 200 million of them are active. The way that you can use Twitter, you can post jobs, you can post articles, you can track it back to something you want to, like a website that you want to lead people to. The way that I use it, and I think everyone else should also use it, is to follow your competition. Follow people you admire, people you want to model. It's like being a fly on the wall in your competition. So it's really a great way to just keep your finger on the pulse of what's going on in your industry. And this is what it looks like. They've got mobile apps, so when you're at the grocery store and you're standing in line, you can check out what everybody's doing on Twitter. And it's not all Beyonce and Charlie Sheen. There's definitely some really good industry-related content in there. And now we come to Pinterest, which is like my new favorite thing. Pinterest is now the third most popular social network and the fastest growing. And what's really cool about Pinterest is if you are trying to reach an audience of women over 40, this is your place. Pinterest, unlike the other social networks, which really have a pretty big drop-off after age 36 and even 45, Pinterest keeps a really good solid demographic all the way through age 54, and it's almost 70% women. So keep that in mind if that's your target market. Some really great examples of branding on Pinterest are iSIMS. They do a great job of branding themselves here. Home Depot, awesome use of Pinterest. So we all know Home Depot is like the do-it-yourself mecca. And they have little pin boards of how to lay tile. Here's some information on lighting and fans. So it's a great way to capture an audience in ways that their website cannot. And then Sodexo, if anyone is on the line from Sodexo, you guys are doing an awesome job of utilizing Pinterest for recruiting. And so if you guys don't work for Sodexo, go check out their Pinterest site. I love it because it's all recruiting related. So they've got a careers blog, they've got career connections, they've got LinkedIn profiles of all their recruiters on staff, and you can read about them and see what they're doing. You can search jobs, you can find out about chef's jobs, housekeeping jobs, etc. So it's so cool. And what I really love about it almost the most is that so many people throughout my travels tell me, oh, I hire blue-collar workers, and I hire housekeepers, and I hire warehouse workers. I can't use social media to hire those people. Well, guess what? Yes, you can. Sodexo is doing it to great extent, and they're successful with it. And I don't know about you, but people in Tampa who don't have homes have cell phones, and they can access the internet. So you'd be surprised. There is a computer in every household, and even people without homes have cell phones. So give it a try no matter what level of employee you're trying to brand to. And then here's just one of Sodexo's boards. This is their careers blog board. And so when you go into the board, you see all these different pinned articles. And this one I'm looking at here is the top 5 things you need to do before graduation. And so when you click on that, it just opens up a new browser with that article there. So it's a great way to kind of put like content together. So when you're considering your company's social media strategy, these are the things you want to keep in mind. Your visibility. How findable are you? The easiest way to figure this out is to go and do a Google search. Search for your company on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook. Are you easily found? Great. If not, make some changes. Differentiation is really important. What makes you unique? We all have a personality. Every single company has one. And it's important to find out what is unique, what is so cool about your company that other people don't do or can't do. That's what you want to highlight when you're doing your branding and your social media. Consistency is very key. So if you've got a Pinterest site and you've got a Google Plus site and you've got Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, and your Facebook is like really active and you're there every day and comments are happening, but your Twitter is like your last tweet was 3 years ago, that's confusing. So you want to make sure that you are consistent across all sites, not only in the look, feel, but also your level of engagement. And authenticity is most important. You want to be who you are. So everyone's kind of like, oh, social media, I got to be cool, and I got to be hipster, and I got to be young, and I got to be, cutting edge. You don't have to be. I'm going to show you in a second how GE uses social media. And GE is, we would not call them hipster or young and energetic. I mean, they're a conservative company who's been around a really long time. So just be who you are. Don't try to be who you're not. And engage. If you have people who are commenting on your site and visiting your site and showing you that they're there, write back to them, engage with them, because they will go as quick as they came if you're not engaging. And always bring your camera. Photos and video, content is king, and photos and video are great content. So just a great quote from Seth Godin about being authentic. And here's GE. This is their Facebook page. So they've got this thing. I don't even know what this thing is. Okay, it says GENX meet wind tunnel. I'm assuming it's a wind tunnel, and GENX is something that is used to make it. Who knows? But it's really cool, right? You're like, wow, that's awesome. And so they're showing in a picture how cool their innovations are. And if you look at this, they had nearly 800 likes, 102 shares, and then we've got Zach Armstrong here who is commenting on it like, ooh, it's amazing how all those little parts go together to make the big parts work. And GE engages with them and says, indeed, Jack, do you know how many parts one GENX has? And then people are replying to that too. So that is a great example of authenticity and engagement. Bank of America is authentic. They are the financial experts. I obviously pulled this at tax time. So it was right before April 15th, and they're like, hey, taxes are almost due. Check out these 7 things before you file. Great. They're sharing their expertise. It's not flashy. It's not young or hipster or anything. They're not trying to be funny or anything like that. They're being themselves, and it's timely. What great content. 14 shares. Okay. So the next piece is we're going to talk about social media and you. So building and strengthening your personal brand is very important for your overall company brand, because your overall company brand is in essence everybody who works for that company. That's part of your brand. So strengthening your own LinkedIn profile, your own social media sites that other people can access, and everyone who works in your company doing the same thing is going to do a lot to strengthen your brand. You're going to be able to drive more traffic to your company's pages if you have a strong personal brand. And then of course strengthening your brand is going to strengthen your organization's brand. Same tactics apply here. You want to be visible, different, consistent, and engage. And you're going to start out by just doing an assessment of your current brand by Googling yourself. And so here I've Googled my old boss, Chad Goddard, because the Google of me has like a mug shot on one of the pictures, and it's not me, so I didn't want to show that. So Googling yourself is a good way to just assess your current situation. And this probably isn't going to work out real well if your name is Michael Jackson or Beyonce or John Smith. But if your name is Chad Goddard or Jennifer Millman or something like that, you should be able to get yourself in a position like this by utilizing LinkedIn, being active on LinkedIn, by getting active in blog. If you're a writer, submit some articles for different blogs, be a contributing author, put yourself out there. And this is how you do it. And it's not that hard. LinkedIn is probably the fastest way to kind of build your own professional brand because it is a professional network. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. But this is what you're striving for, right? You want to be found when people Google you, because honestly, like we mentioned at the beginning, when people are checking you out and they haven't heard of your company and you're calling them like, hey, it's Jen Millman, I want to talk to you about this job. Before that person calls me back, if they're savvy, and I want a savvy candidate, right, they're probably going to figure out who I am and figure out who my company is. So give them something good to look at. So your LinkedIn profile starts with a picture. It's an absolute must. So as I'm searching for Greg Jones here, Most Greg Joneses have pictures, which is good, but some don't. And it's just, as a recruiter, looking for potential candidates, my eye is drawn to those with pictures. And I know we're talking about branding and not necessarily recruiting candidates today. But again, if someone has your name and they're searching for you, you want to give them something great to look at. Profiles without photos are typically ignored. It's a good investment, and quite honestly, the fact of the matter is, when people don't have a photograph, it's a psychological fact that they assume you're not good looking. It's the same with online dating. If you don't have a photograph on your Match.com profile, people are going to assume that it's because you don't look good, which isn't the truth, right? You're all beautiful. And if you spend $100 or $125 on a professional photo, and it's definitely a good investment. Your company may even reimburse you for it. So here's some examples of really great photos. They don't have to be studio shots. Jenna is clearly sitting outside, but it's a headshot. We want to see your face. We want to see who you are. These are great examples of great looking photos. Here's examples of people who probably didn't put much thought into their LinkedIn photos. I mean, they're not bad and they're not bad-looking people, but it's not doing much, right? So we've got all this space here. She's clearly cut someone out. Ken and his baby. I mean, I love his baby. Love your baby. But I'm trying to look at you from a professional standpoint. Sunglasses, I can't really connect with you, can't see who you are. You're sitting, you're far away, I don't know what's going on. Are you hunting? Are you always going to be hunting? Are you going to work at all? Are you guys a team? It looks like a happy couple, congratulations. But again, it's a professional, profile. I don't know who this person is. I'm connecting in no way to this globe. I want to see who you are and your face. So just some things to consider. And I picked out Lindsay Polak's profile here because her profile is awesome, and it's a great example to look at. So when you are updating your own personal profile on LinkedIn, you want to make full use of the best real estate, which is this headline right here. And you don't have to put your title in your headline, right? I mean, it doesn't have to be Jen Millman, Talent Acquisition Manager. It can be Jen Millman, Talent Expert, or in Lindsay's case, Career and Workplace Expert. So who are you? What do you do? What are you great at? And utilize that headline to describe who you are. If you're a recruiter, and I'm assuming we have lots of recruiters, hoping we have lots of recruiters on the phone, and you're calling out, say you're cold calling to some passive candidates, or you're emailing, and you've either left your name in a voicemail or on an email, they're going to check you out on LinkedIn. And if you've got no picture and you've got like 10 contact connections and it's kind of a lame headline, they're probably not going to be super excited about calling you back or working for your company. But if you've got a great picture and you've got a headline and you've got 500 plus connections, they're going to be like, oh my gosh, this person is calling me, and they're going to get on the phone. They're going to call you right back. They're going to feel special that you, famous, you, have reached out to them. So it's important to have a good-looking profile because that is part of your brand, which makes up your company's brand. Your summary is your bio. Make use of that space. Your experience is your resume. Make use of that space. This is kind of cool. So at first this feature was really annoying me on LinkedIn. It's like when you, if you guys use LinkedIn a lot and you go on and you're looking for people and you get that pop-up like, would you like to endorse John Smith for XYZ, PDQ? Well, this is where those endorsements go. So I like it because it kind of puts it in a bar chart format for you to clearly see this person's expert areas are going to rise to the top. So I know that this person is probably strongest in account management, and then business analysis, and then software as a service. So I know that these are her strengths. So if I'm, as you're recruiting and you're looking at a lot of different people, you kind of see the strengths rise to the top. LinkedIn groups are a good thing for you to do. You're going to want to join these because as you get more active in LinkedIn, Now you've got a great looking profile. Now you want to engage in LinkedIn. You want to engage by posting on your own status. You want to engage by posting in groups. This, again, helps your brand. So there are literally over 1 million groups available on LinkedIn to join. Join the ones that make sense for you. Join ones that are in your industry. Join ones that have to do with your job openings. You can join up to 50 at a time. What's really cool about them is that you can send invitations to connect with people that you normally wouldn't be able to send an invitation to connect with because you don't know them. If you're in the same group, you can talk to them, you can message them, you can invite them to connect without having to know their email address. So really great use of LinkedIn. Follow companies on LinkedIn. It's just, follow companies who you compete with for talent. Figure out what they're doing. Copy what works. Follow universities you work with. Follow the news in your industry. The bottom line here is it all starts with you, and then it's important for you guys to evangelize this stuff throughout your organization. Because as one of the clients that I work with is a $3 billion company, and they've got 15,000 employees, but only about 30% of their employees are on LinkedIn. And of those, I'd say maybe 10% have photographs, and it's not doing much for their brand. Imagine if all of those employees had profiles, because when you have a candidate, let's say you're interviewing somebody for purchasing manager at your company, you can bet that they're going to go online, they're going to go into LinkedIn, they're going to look up your company, then they're going to do a search for anyone who works in purchasing in your company so they can figure out who's the boss, what do they look like, who would be my peers. They're checking all that out. Savvy candidates are doing that, and you want savvy candidates. So let's make sure that you get everyone in your organization involved with getting their LinkedIn profile up to par and being involved in LinkedIn, because that is going to dramatically strengthen your brand. Really quick note on Facebook profile. Okay, so I know your Facebook is personal. I get it. I don't accept any professional invites on my personal Facebook page. But the truth of the matter is, if someone's searching for me on Facebook, I don't have my profile hidden, and they're going to see my profile picture and like my bar across the top and where I work and where I'm from. Okay, so if you have this too and you're not hidden, you're going to want to make sure that your Facebook profile is not you like chugging a beer bong, and your LinkedIn profile is you in a suit with pearls, right? You want to, again, be consistent. So you might want to think about adding a professional element to Facebook. You might want to add your LinkedIn profile link to your Facebook contact. And I want to point out something really quick that I forgot to show you guys. Right here. Okay, right here, if you guys don't have a customized LinkedIn link, make one. And all you have to do to make one is click Edit your contact info, and you can edit your profile link. If it's not customized, it's going to be a really long link, and you just want it customized for your name. And then you're going to copy this and use that for your business cards, your email address, put it on your Facebook, etc. Okay, so we're moving on now to your company's career page. Your company's career page is still the single most important channel for your job seekers. So 80% of people are looking for your career page. So still the very most important thing. Should have put it first, but I didn't. Again, what they want is they want to find you quickly. They want to find you easily. And these are the results from Potential Park's January 2013 hot off the press online talent communication survey. And so what they did is they talked to like 25,000 candidates, 900 universities, 700 companies, and these are the results they got: ranking employers, website, online app, Facebook, LinkedIn, etc. So these are the top 10 in the US. Accenture was also #1 in the world. So let's take a look at why they're so cool. Here's Accenture's career site. So what I found, they've got a testimonial video here. They've got scrolling, live feed, job openings happening here. Meet Our People. I really like their Meet Our People. So when you go on Meet Our People, they literally have thousands of employee spotlights, and you can read about the employees. And here I see Andrea and her hubby. and she works in HR, and I can read about what she does, and I can read about her advice. Nicholas here, I can read about what he's doing in Miami with diversity. So it's just a really great way for somebody to get to know who they would be working with. Intel's site I love. You should really check this out. It's not flashy. It doesn't have awesome graphics. So it goes to show you that content is the most important thing. It doesn't have to be all flash media and all this stuff. Coolest thing about Intel's site, in my opinion, is when you click on their pay, stock, and benefits, they have a video that they show you that tells you how they determine what they're going to pay you when you start, how they determine how they're going to keep paying you as you remain an employee there, how your bonuses work, how your stock works, how your benefits work. And I literally, as I watched this video, it was so transparent and so honest and so full of information. I felt like I was an employee at Intel on their company intranet site. I couldn't believe they were sharing some of the information that they were sharing to the general public. What a great example of branding. And so I know if I go work at Intel, I'm going to work for a really transparent organization. Roche, another #1, top 10 company. What I found in their site is that they are really great at outlining their career pathing options. And they go so far into detail about it that they've got 5 or 6 different options, and they tell you where you would fit in and what your career would look like 2, 5, 10 years down the road, which is amazing. And then on their careers blog, they have it automatically hooked up to Facebook. So as I'm reading through this particular article, I can just comment it right on the bottom and it goes straight to their Facebook page, which is really cool. Jobs at Intel has a really great blog. A blog is a great, easy, quick way to start branding yourself as an employer. Check out Jobs at Intel blog for some ideas. Same with Microsoft's jobs blog. Great example. Some ideas for blog posts, and now you're probably thinking, oh my gosh, okay, I got to become a marketer, I got to be like a website person, I got to be a social media guru, and now I got to write articles too? What? It's not that hard, paragraph or 2. And what you can do is if you're not a writer, engage the rest of your organization. Ask someone who just started to write an article about their take on what it's like to work here. Typically your workforce is going to be really excited about being able to contribute like that. Really quick note on employee referral program, just because social media is so effective in spreading the word, if you have an employee referral program, social media should exponentially increase the benefit of what you're trying to do with your referral program. And if you don't have a referral program, putting one together combined with a great social media strategy is going to really increase your branding and your PR and even your product branding, your overall company branding. So consider that. And then your job postings, just make sure that you're marketing the opportunities instead of just posting your standard, basic, boring job description. So here's HSN's example of their HR business partner job. This is their posting on LinkedIn. It's a posting. It's not anything other than their job description. If you look at Mosaic's example of a talent management manager posting, you've got, who is Mosaic? What is our value? What are our values? Are you our next talent management manager? What will you do? And it's just written in a way that really shows their personality. So consider that when you're writing your job postings. Optimizing your job postings for search engines. Today, candidates are, like I said before, they're not going to Career Builder and Monster anymore. What is easiest for them is just to go into Google and search accounting jobs. And what comes up is usually Indeed, and Simply Hired is another one. And these are data mining sites that mine all the data from Career Builder, Monster, your company career site, everywhere, and they put it all in one place. So it's easy for candidates. Indeed is the #1 source of hire by a mile, and where this comes from is Silk Road's March 2012 survey. They surveyed 200,000 postings, 9 million applicants, and out of 100,000 hires, 10,000 were Indeed sources. Career Builder was $6,000, Monster was $2,000, agencies and Craigslist were $1,800 each, and LinkedIn was $1,000. So you want to make sure, Indeed, and I can tell you too from my own experience, Indeed is our #1 source other than employer referrals. So make use of search engine optimization when you are writing your postings. And then the big question of the day is, okay, how much is this going to cost me? The answer is it shouldn't cost you any more than what you're paying right now today. So you can either shift your dollars from certain areas that aren't really working for you anymore and put them into like your career site, because we just learned your career site is the most important piece of your employment brand. So you may want to invest there. You may want to invest in an employer referral program. You may want to invest in a video. You can, depending on the market where you live, videos are typically going to run you about $1,000 a minute for a professionally done video. Or you can do it for free if you just whip out your iPhone, and post something on a YouTube channel. A full careers page overhaul, if you hire a professional versus doing it internally, it's probably going to cost you $10,000 to $60,000. Again, you don't have to do that. You can start with what you have today. LinkedIn Recruiter, if you decide to have a recruiter account with LinkedIn, you're going to start out around $13,000 a year. You don't have to pay for, to get the benefits of LinkedIn, and I think I'll be doing a webinar later in November to kind of talk about that. The benefit of paying, though, will give you ongoing posts. So if you post a lot of jobs, you can always have posts up. And it will give you, if you don't have a huge LinkedIn network already, it will give you the ability to reach out to anyone that you want to. Or you can just start by checking it out for a $400 post without getting the whole recruiter account. You can just post a job on LinkedIn and see what it does for you. My advice is start small and plan big. Don't bite off more than you can chew. Get really good in one area and then move on to the next. Where do you find the time? Again, don't try to tackle it all at once. Focus on 1 or 2 social networks that are going to get you the biggest bang for the buck. Get really good at that and then move on. I know that change is daunting and it's like, oh my gosh, Jen, I'm totally packed already. I don't have any more time to fit into my day. You'll be surprised. I spend maybe 15 minutes a week doing this stuff, and in the beginning, it's a learning curve, just like when you learn a new ATS system or you learn how to use LinkedIn for the first time. But once you get into it, it's going to be really fun. So what do you do next? You already have an employment brand. It's made up of all of these things. So I suggest, the first thing you want to do is assess your current situation. And you can do that through a Zoomerang survey to your employees. You can put together a task force. You can, I would do it internally and externally. Ask some candidates, ask customers, ask everybody that you want to ask what their take is on who you are and what your employment brand is. And that will give you a baseline too that you can measure against as you do all these initiatives that you want to do. And then just create a roadmap. Start with your quick wins. If you think a blog is going to be the quickest win for you, get that going. If you think referral bonus combined with social media is going to be the quickest, get that going. Focus on your strengths. Trying to turn around an area that you're weak in is just going to be a process that you don't want to tackle. So just focus on your strengths. And finally, I love this quote, if you're not a brand, you're a commodity. And this was said by a marketing guru in our lifetime, but the way that we can kind of utilize it in employment branding is if you're not an employment brand, you're just a job. If you're not creating a place where people want to come work, you are simply a job. And you're not going to be able to get the A players, and we all want A players. So questions. I've got a list of questions here, and I know that we've got like 2 minutes left, and I'm sorry that I'm butting up at the end here. My email is on there, so if you guys want to ask me questions offline, feel free to send me an email, and I'm going to stay on the line to answer these questions right now. So let's see here. Why is a passive candidate considered a better quality candidate than an active candidate? Passive candidates make up 80% of the total candidate pool. So of all the employment market, of all the working professionals in our world, 80% of them are not looking for a job. 20% of them are. So the passive piece is 80%. And the typical understanding is that someone who's gainfully employed and they're fully engaged in their current job and they're focused on their current job and they're giving back, they're a higher quality candidate than someone who's looking, someone who's unemployed. And this is, I know that there are A players in the unemployed marketplace. I'm not saying all or nothing. But typically people who on average are unemployed are typically not your A players. Most organizations, even when they're doing layoffs, they do what they can to keep their A players. So if you really want to hire A players, you want to really get to that 80% of the workforce that is passive. Jennifer, do you have any advice for large organizations with strong customer brands who don't have a problem attracting applicants? How do we use our employer brand to reduce the level of interest in us and make it clear what we are looking for and what we aren't? What a great question. So if you have the luxury of having a really great brand like Nike or Apple or Zappos or one of those big employers that everyone wants to work for, how do you use it to filter more? I would say this is, from that be authentic bullet point that we talked about. I would be very honest about who you want and utilize that on your career page. If you're only looking to hire A players, you can say something like, we have a very selective process. Apple hires only A players with positive, winning attitudes who are ambitious and hungry and intelligent. Kind of spell it out that way. And we have a rigorous process. We get hundreds of applicants a day, and we will be contacting those who we want to talk to further. So just be really honest about what your process is. You can be honest about it if you have a blog, which I'm assuming that you do if you're a huge employer. You might want to write an article about that very thing. Write a blog article about, here's our employment brand. Here's what works for us. If you're this, this, and that, we want you. If you're this, this, and that, you're probably not a good fit. Just say it. I mean, honesty is a really great policy, and as long as you're kind and respectful, it's going to work for you, and it's going to win you business and ultimately the right candidates. So which of the sites do you think are better suited to reach university candidates? Typically, and I'm assuming maybe undergraduate candidates here, your younger folks are kind of populating in the Facebook. Facebook is the youngest demographic. So I would say Facebook might be where you want to focus. YouTube would be another one. The younger university, I guess college age and college graduates are they're surfing YouTube. They're on Facebook all the time because all their friends are there. So I would probably focus there. Do you suggest recruiters of companies do personal YouTube videos to introduce their talents to candidates and clients? Absolutely. I think that's a great idea. The beauty of YouTube is that it's free, and you can post as much content as you want for free. So if you've got if you've got a candidate, maybe you interview them on YouTube and they're awesome, post it up there, and then you can just attach the link to your email when you send it to a potential employer. Videos. Is it perceived as unprofessional if you use iPhone videos? It depends on your whole culture, right? So like on the Zappos site, on their Facebook page, those videos that they have look, I mean, they're not unprofessional at all, but they don't look like they were professionally done, and I think it's done to great effect. YouTube is typically where you're going to put if you're a very polished and professional organization that does not want to put a sloppy iPhone video on your careers website, YouTube is a great alternative for that. Create a YouTube channel, and that's where all your iPhone videos can go. Should your employment brand be different than your company brand? That's a hard one. So your employment brand is different than your company brand, but it should be they should both be helping each other out. So like let's take Apple, for instance, since everyone knows Apple. Apple's brand is, it's cool products, they're easy to use, it's, user interface, it's the new cool thing, it's kind of trendy. And when you go into an Apple store, you see that their employees look cool and trendy and hipster and young and techy. So they really should play into each other, and I think the biggest bang for your buck is going to be that they play into each other. I don't imagine that GE's employment brand is going to be like, hey, come work at the cool hipster cutting edge GE, when their real brand is like they're serious and they're excellence, and I think that they would have to play into each other. How does LinkedIn know that 30% of their candidates are passive? So that's a good question, and I'm pretty sure I got that information from one of LinkedIn's infographics. But LinkedIn does, with their job posting and employment feature, so as a LinkedIn recruiter, and I do have a LinkedIn recruiter license, when I'm posting jobs in LinkedIn, those jobs are coming up, like if somebody is going to my LinkedIn page, for instance, if they go to Jen Millman's LinkedIn page, the jobs that are at Vology are going to show up on my page. And if somebody clicks on that, that's considered a passive candidate because they didn't go to LinkedIn to look for a job. They didn't go to LinkedIn Jobs and now they're searching jobs. They clicked in LinkedIn in another area. They were either reading the news feed on LinkedIn and they saw the job on the far right and they clicked it there, or they were on someone's profile on LinkedIn and they saw the job on the right and they clicked it there. So they did not go to LinkedIn Jobs to search for a job and click on a job, but they clicked on it in a different way.
Okay, thanks, Jennifer. I think we'd like to take more questions, but unfortunately we are past the top of the hour. So just a quick reminder that by the end of the day tomorrow, you will see an email that will include today's webinar slides, recording, and information containing HRCI credits. This information will also be available at ere.net. A big thank you to Jennifer for sharing with our audience today, and another huge thank you to JobBite for sponsoring today's webinar. Have a great day, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, that does conclude the webinar for today. We thank you for your participation and ask that you please disconnect your line.